What is the role of a man in a relationship, in a marriage, or just with a woman in general? Um, I believe there is a distinct role of a man in a relationship, and this is a thing that I've begun to try to assume in my life is my appropriate identity, my appropriate form as the gender that I am of my species, is that there are things that a man can do that a woman doesn't do as much, doesn't do as often, and doesn't do as able. They're not as able to do function as to compartmentalize as a man is. And a man has a different drive as a gender than a woman has a drive as a gender. And our drives fluctuate at different rates at different times. And if the man has a child at 18, that's good for that's appropriate. You look at the tendency for a man to completely understand life at 18, and it's not there. But a woman's drive is she reaches the top of her drive to procreate in her 30s, at her early 30s, and a man reaches the top of his drive when he's 18, and as he becomes an adult. Even at the age of 30, a man's drive to procreate is above a woman's. At 30, a man's drive to procreate, he's more driven to procreate from 18, and then he goes down. And at 30, he's still above a woman. But you can identify this drive for what it is, and compartmentalization is a thing that can happen in a man. Is that he will I have a red beard. Check this out. It's red. It's red brown. And so that's cool because I'm Irish, probably is why there's a red tint to my beard. But a man can compartmentalize. I know I can. And I've done it a lot just to get through life. And my life hasn't gotten easier yet. If it's going to get easier, that I compartmentalize less, but every once in a while, I'll have it in my mind to really put my best foot forward and compartmentalize for good, for the sake of good. And it feels appropriate. It feels like I'm being a man, and it feels like I'm better at, steadying my hand in an intense situation as I just compartmentalize everything. And if a woman is like, oh, what do we do? It's a rat. And I'm like, oh man, I'll get rid of the rat. And I'll just get rid of it however is appropriate for me to get rid of it. And I won't bother the woman with how I got rid of the rat. And I just stuff it all inside, do my job, done, rat's removed, and then I come back to my woman and I'm like, I took care of the rat, and she's like, oh, I feel safe and secure, I feel safe and sound around you, you make me feel good. And that's what I'm talking about, is besides sex, is the role of a man, and you see it, you can see it in the process of, whatever men and women do behind closed doors, they can do the same thing behind closed doors or out in the open. And with the rat example, you're taking you're taking a undesirable object out of the environment. And the man's better at it because he's better at compartmentalizing his emotions, one. And in that, he gets the job done. And that's you'll see a man be the breadwinner, be the one that makes the money. And if it's harder in life to make money, then a man can just compartmentalize and go through the motions. Okay, I'm well, I'm Irish, so I'm a white male. It's funny to me because the privilege that I have is real, and it goes unnoticed most of the time. People just assume, oh, he's capable. And, I am capable, but I'm not better than another man. Maybe I am. Maybe as a Caucasian, there are certain skill sets that are unique to my Caucasian identity. They give me an edge in certain realms because I know that black people are better at sports than white people. Is because you look at the arenas of professional sports, basketball, football, and you see, okay, well, black people have a bigger Achilles tendon. They run faster and jump higher. And that's their identity. And it's celebrated in professional sports where they entertain the rest of the world, and they're better at it than white people most of the time. Maybe it's similar in a business world with compartmentalization, with intelligence. I'm not calling anyone stupid. I'm not calling anyone weak. But perhaps if we could just talk about the possibility that a white gender is better at a certain thing than a black gender, because I know a black gender's better at sports than a white gender. And compartmentalization, I think, is where a man shines. Because, okay, we got to accomplish this good thing. If only someone could turn their emotions off. Here and there in the man. I'm here. I'll turn my emotions off. I'll get the job done, and then we'll be happy together. And that's what I like to do, and that's the role I'm trying to assume, is because in the Bible it says a man's better at a firm hand. And if you know what you're doing, you can have a very appropriate firm hand. And the Bible says a woman's better at listening or something like this. And I have a lot to say, so I want to find a woman that's a good listener. That would be great. And so in my mind, I'm directed by the truth of the Bible, that the Bible's figured out human behavior better than I have. But then I test it. As Paul says in the Bible, test these things. Make sure they're true. And I test it, and, in testing, as far as experience goes, I have experience of compartmentalizing and it working out for me. I feel like I'm onto something. In my life, in what I want, the direction that I want my life to go, I feel like I'm onto something. I'm onto a good direction, a good path. I happened upon a good path, compartmentalization for good, and I'm doing it, It started out with compartmentalizing to get through, and now it's like a muscle that I have that I use. I'm just, and I'm just compartmentalized. Or I'm more alive and, just going with the flow. But I can turn my emotions off, and I do it for the sake of the woman, and it feels good. And that's how I've identified my role as a man. Not that that's my only role, not that that's what I have to do, but that as a man I'm different from a woman, and how can my strengths benefit us, me and my woman. And that's where I'm at with everything, and I think a man does have a unique identity as a species of his gender, and I think a man has a role in a relationship where he can play a certain part a certain way, and he can be good at it. And I think it's appropriate. So thank you for watching.